everyone. This is Cossie with One Elegant Event and our new name, Celebrate with Cossie. So, I decided to go live and I'm going to start going live more often because I just feel like there is a lot of bad information being shared online about wedding planning. We have all these different groups that people have joined and they get solicited or unsolicited advice from people who aren't in the industry. And some of the advice they get is good and some of the advice is really bad. So, I really can't. I used to try to plan these lives, but seems like every time I try to plan a live, somebody calls me or I have an appointment I have to run to. So they're just going to happen sporadically. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask if you are on live, or if you see it later, you can definitely ask your question and I'll answer it later in your inbox or on the comment section. So feel free to always ask questions, or if you have a comment. I don't mind. Like, love, share. Please share this information. It's really valuable information that I'm going to be sharing on these lives. And I hope you get a lot out of these tips that I'm going to be giving. A lot of my tips are going to be probably more centered around what's happening in our Hampton Roads area because that's where I actually live. But I will actually be sharing some information about destination weddings and some other locations too. So, and I'll keep you posted about that. But today's live is about what you're going to do when you first get engaged. When you first get engaged, what is the first thing that you do? And that is to first, you got to decide on how many guests you may or may not have. So you need to have an estimated amount of guests. But the first thing you're going to spend money on is touring and booking your venue. This is a big deal, especially now. Things have gone up quite a bit in price as far as venues, flowers, groceries, period. Life has gotten a lot more expensive. And so in order for you to stay with your budget, and regardless of if you have a small budget or a large budget or a regular budget, or you have, an unlimited budget, which most people, even with a lot of money, don't have an unlimited budget, you have to have some type of budget. And in order to even begin to stay in that budget that you came up with, you definitely have to pick the right venue for what you are trying to have. We always try to tell people that if you can cut your guest list in half, that is great. But some people just have big families. You may have, 20, 30, 40 cousins, or, your direct family is, just your cousins and your aunts and your brothers and your sisters. Just your immediate family that you see on a regular basis could be 80 people. Or it could be 10. So it all depends on the size of who are you around. And even with relatives, you don't have to invite all of your relatives. If you haven't spoken to somebody in 7 years, you don't need to invite them to your wedding. And that's just the facts. Unless, there's always, other circumstances on why you should or should not invite people, but make sure you book the right size venue. And that's always a problem because you just never know who all is going to come. But people have been coming to more weddings. If you're inviting them, people are showing up. It's not that old idea of you invite 100 people and 75 of them show up. If you invite 100 people, you may have 110 that want to come these days. So, cause people want to get out, they want to socialize, they want to see people in person and hang out and love on you and enjoy the experience and see what's happening and have a good time. It's dinner, it's dancing, it's fun. Who wouldn't want to come and have a good time? So people are showing up. So you have to start, if you want to stay in your budget, with your venue. And there's always a lot of different causes in booking your venue. So when booking your venue, if you are trying to stay within budget, you need to ask certain questions on, do you have to stick to the catering list that they give you? Is there a catering list? Do they have a preferred caterer? Is there only one caterer that's associated with this venue? And then when you find out if there's a particular caterer that you have to use or a certain list of caterers, before you book, you need to find out how much these caterers cost that you are having to have to use that are on that list, because your venue may only be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. However, the caterer that's associated with that venue, you may not be able to get under $15,000 with your catering bill with them. So now you're almost at $20,000 with your venue and you're over $20,000 with your venue and your caterer already. So your budget is already $20,000 before you even gotten your photographer, your cake, any other things, your dress, or any other things that you want. So you really need to ask questions when booking your venue, because you just never know the associated fees. So you need to find out your associated fees. Does the venue do you have to book a day of coordinator to have your wedding at that particular venue? And what all does that day of coordinator have to do in order to provide you services at that particular venue? Because you may just need a day of coordinator, but you may need an advanced coordinator because we have short times where you have to set up, or you need so many people there to be able to do a room flip. Or you need somebody who knows the actual venue to be able to handle what they're giving them to do for your wedding. So there's a lot of different questions you need to ask before you actually sign the contract. Do they have a vendor list that you have to pick all of your vendors from? Or can you vary from them? If they're not on the list, then what is the requirements for you to book someone that's not on the list? Is there a fee for picking somebody that's not on the list? These are the questions I need to ask when booking your venue. So what is included in the venue? Do you get chairs, tables? Yes. Do the chairs or the tables, are they included in the venue? What kind of tables and chairs are included in the venue? Are there linens included? Is there any kind of decor included in the venue? Do you have to buy alcohol directly from the venue? All these questions you are needing to ask before you book the venue, because you may book a venue for there's something that you thought, oh yeah, the venue fit into my budget. It fits perfectly. It's everything that we wanted. It's everything that we desired. And then you get down into the planning process and you find out that you have to book all these different vendors from this list. And by the time you book all of them, then you are way over your budget. And it's not because they are overpriced, because they are associated with that venue. It's because they have a certain price because of the requirements that the venue places on them. So they may have to hire extra staff. They may have to do extra things. They may have to provide extra services for that venue. And that's why they have that fee for that particular venue versus if you hire them outside of that venue, they may have another fee. And that's the reason, because every venue has different requirements for their vendors and different services that their vendors have to provide. And they may have to charge you extra because they have to have extra people for that venue. So all of this is associated with your venue. So when you book your venue, make sure you ask all the questions you need to ask. Make sure you look through the contract and make sure you look through all the requirements that the venue is asking you to have when you're booking that. And make sure you look at the, on there to find out whether or not if you cancel, do you get any of your money back? Do you get a percentage of your money back? Is it all still, you still have to use that venue? Do you not get any money back? Is it transferable? Can you share it or sell it to someone else? So, cause you never know what may happen. Life happens. Anything could happen, especially if you're planning a wedding a year out, 2 years out. So you can be able to spread these prices and, things across the time that you're planning your wedding. So there's lots of things to consider when booking your venue. Just ask questions. Because you just never know when you book a venue. You might think that it may come with tables and chairs and you find out that you're going to have to rent them from a third party company, or you will have to pay for them through that venue, because sometimes you have to book all of your rental items through the venue. And that's some other things you may need to ask. So just don't be in a hurry when you go visit these venues. Make sure your person that's giving you the tour is explaining the details well. You see all the different areas. You look at all your different options. And you may not get your option 1 or option 2, but you may find a better option that will fit into your budget. So just make sure when you book your venue, it is the most important thing when planning your wedding to stay in budget. Because if you book the wrong venue, you could automatically be thrown out of way out of your budget before you even start planning your wedding. And you don't want to wind up in the hole trying to dig yourself out before you even get started good planning your wedding. So make sure you just ask all the questions, get all the details, find out all the answers, and before you sign the contract, because once you sign the contract, you may or may not get your money back, and most deposits are non-refundable. So just be sure you read your contracts, go over them, keep a copy of them. Even when they're digital, I suggest you print them out, put them in a planning binder. Digital is great. Online is great. Keeping an online folder is great, but it's nothing like having it printed out in a folder in case you need it or you have questions. You can just open it up, read it, go through it, and there may be some details you may need to share with your vendors that they may have to provide when working at that venue that they didn't know, because a lot of venues' policies in the past year or two have changed. They've added some things that vendors and the host needs to provide. So what they did 2 or 3 years ago when they performed a wedding at that venue may not be the same things that they have to do now. So just make sure you keep everybody updated. If you can afford to hire a wedding planner, do that. That will help you out greatly. Definitely hire you a day of coordinator, because you don't want to have to deal with any of the day of issues that you need. But I'll always read your contracts, go over them, look at the fine details, look at the cancellation policies, and look at what is included and not included in that particular purchase before signing your contract, so you won't lose out on any money and spend more money than you thought you needed to spend. Well, that's my tip on venues. And next time we'll discuss something else. And it may be tomorrow. It may be next week. But I'll keep you posted, and I'll keep sharing these great tips. And you share these tips with your other friends that are engaged or thinking about getting married or having vow renewals, to help them save money and help them to not fall into any loopholes that will get them all, messed up in their planning before they get started. Because we don't want you frustrated. No. We want you having a great time. It's a party. It's a celebration, and we want to celebrate with you. So make sure you just share these things and keep things in mind so you won't fall into those problems. All right. Well, you have a great day. You have a great week. Happy planning, and always have a great time. Bye.